Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about today's video. As you know, I love to speak life into as many people as I possibly can. And so today's topic I thought was one that's very fitting because in the past, I'm gonna say month, I've talked to quite a few people and this reoccurring theme keeps coming around. So I said, you know what, today's video is gonna be about letting go. And you know, we all have something or some things, or in some cases some people, that we need to just let go of. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I jump right in, I want to say thank you for those of you that continue to support my channel and to support me and my business. I'm so grateful for you, and I love you all dearly. So let's jump right on in. So Walt Whitman wrote, "Re-examine all that you have been told and dismiss what insults your soul." Unfortunately for us, Whitman never left detailed instructions on exactly how to do this. So people hold on tightly to things, especially onto beliefs that certain things are meant for them. And this manifests itself in different ways, from destructive relationships to an inflexibility and changing one's career path or vocation, to the unwillingness to consistently reflect on one's fundamental values, much less change them. We hold on tightly to things because it's very easy to form habits, and our habits, whether they are our thoughts, words, or actions, are not easy to break. And you know what? That is so true. Just think about your everyday routine, and think about the things that you do every day out of habit. And if you tried to stop doing those things, you would find that it's very difficult to do, because it's hard to break habits. But we have to learn how to, because some of the habits that we have, holding on to them keeps us stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Holding on to them doesn't allow us to grow. And I say us because I know I have things that I need to let go of, and I'm slowly but surely letting go of those things. So let's jump further into this. Let's really unpack this thing called letting go. Think of something that you really wanted, that you thought was meant for you. Maybe it's even something that you had but lost, something that you eventually ended up without. It hurt, didn't it? And maybe it hurt so badly that you just couldn't quite let it go. And holding on to it in its own strange way felt like you still had it. But this sensation, this obsession that we have for the things that we hold on to tightly, our grip seemingly unbreakable, rarely, if ever, keeps us from loss. We lose things all the time. And the Bible says that the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And Job warned us of that in the Old Testament. And so let me just put a pin right here. So, you know, I just read where we hold on to things that we thought was meant for us. And, you know, and it hurt when that thing didn't go the way we thought it would. And let's be honest, we all have been down that path, right? I can remember a few years back being in a relationship, and it's always a hard thing when the person that you care so much about chooses to be with someone else. It hurts, right? And we all have experienced that. And if you haven't, just keep living, because you will. And it does, it hurts. And I've been down that road. I can be honest about that. And that's one thing that I like when I'm doing my videos where I'm speaking life into people, is that I can be transparent, because I don't mind sharing a part of me with you. And so that relationship, it hurt deeply, because I had invested everything I had mentally and physically into this relationship for this person to decide that they wanted to be with someone else. And I mean to tell you, went through it all. Song would come on, I just started crying out of nowhere. And I remember one night we had revival, when my pastor was preaching a revival at another church, and I wasn't going to go because I just did not feel like it. I truly didn't. And that little voice said, no, go on. And mainly I went because I didn't want my mom to have to go. Not that she couldn't go by herself, but I said, well, you know, I'll go because I know she wants to go. And I, to this day, cannot think of the name of the song that the choir was singing, but it had something to do with, this was going to be your last cry. And I said, you know, Lord, it was meant for me to be here because that song ministered to me, and it allowed me to let go of holding on to something and or someone that clearly wanted to move on. But let me tell y'all something, God don't like ugly, because that same person, after they moved on, realized that the person they moved on with was not like me, and then wanted to come back. And I had the pleasure of saying no, and by the way, hell no. Anyway, let's move on. But here's what I know. And it's possible, one of the few things I actually really know, tighter grips on the things that aren't meant for us close us to life. Let me say that again. Tighter grips on the things that aren't meant for us close us to life. And you have to be open to life, right? If you're not open, you're going to hold on to things that will bring you unnecessary pain and suffering. Going back to what I just said, if I could not let go of that relationship, the more I held on to it, the more it brought pain, suffering to me. Because guess what? That person that moved on clearly hadn't thought two cents about it. But I'm the one that was holding on to it and causing my own self pain and unnecessary anguish, right? If you're open to life, if you're open, life still brings you pain, but it will be the kind of pain that is necessary to get you where you're destined to be. Even if this destiny might be drastically different from the path that you're on right now, and maybe that is where Whitman's counsel comes in. And then it says, knowing the difference between the necessity of our suffering allows us to keep what is meaningful and to throw away the unnecessary pains, to throw away what insults the soul. In the end, our paths are rarely straight and narrow, and that is so true. And they were never meant to be that way anyway. You know, we all want things to be straight and narrow and, you know, no twists and turns, but life is just not... It's not designed to be that way. And if all we do in each one is learn a lesson or meet a friend or know ourselves better or do something kind for someone, we have done much. Always remember, you must have the courage to let go of the things that are not meant for you or for me. I'm going to say that one more time. Always remember, you must have the courage to let go of the things that are not meant for us. Because it takes a lot of courage to do that. Like I said, we all have been down that road. So let's talk about 7 things that you gain when you let go. When I came across this, I thought this was so interesting and I wanted to make sure I shared it with you. So when you try to control too much, you enjoy too little. Sometimes you just need to let go, relax, take a deep breath, and love what is. So number 1, really get to know people for who they really are. And having gone through a very, I'm going to say traumatic breakup, traumatic in the sense that I made it that way because I couldn't let go, I can tell you that I now get to really know people for who they are. See, what happens is we get this perceived notion of who people are, and we see them with our rose-colored glasses on. But at the end of the day, they're showing us who they really are, but we refuse to see it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You with that brother, he is fine as wine, or that woman that's got curves in all the right places, and you want her to be Mrs. Right, or you want him to be Mr. Right, and so you can't see that they're showing you who they really are. So really get to know people for who they really are. It's okay to disagree with the things that other people say and think, the thoughts or opinions expressed by those you love, but that doesn't give you the right to deny any sense they might make. nor does it give you a right to accuse them of poorly expressing their beliefs just because you don't like what they're saying. Learn to recognize interesting perspectives, lifestyles, and opinions, even if it means overcoming your pride and opening your mind beyond its comfort. Number 2, you grow beyond what other people think. We all have been misunderstood by someone in our lives, and Lord knows that I have. You can now live life without misunderstanding, which makes life so much easier. Keep in mind, people will see you the way they want to see you, okay? And you have got to understand that one. People will see you the way they want to see you, and that's okay. I love me some Madea, and I love when she says, don't worry about what people call you. It's what you answer to that matters. So I'm saying, don't worry about what people think about you. It's what you think about you that matters. Number 3, you begin to enjoy inner peace. People are disturbed not by things that happen to them, but by the principles and opinions which they form concerning those things. We are hindered or disturbed or grieved. When we are hindered or disturbed or grieved, let us never attribute it to others, but to ourselves. That is, to our own principles and opinions, and that's pretty much self-explanatory. Modern behavior science agrees too. American psychologist Albert Ellis has proven that how people react to events is determined predominantly by their view of the events, not the events themselves. Realize that somewhere within all of us, there does exist a supreme self who is externally at peace. Because inner peace does not depend on external conditions. It's what remains when you've surrounded your ego and, I'm sorry y'all, I am so tongue-tied today. It's what remains when you've surrendered your ego and worries. The need for something to be different in this moment is nothing more than an egocentric worry, and worries like this simply lead you in circles. Peace of mind can arrive any place at any time. The moment you come to peace with what's on your mind, it happens when you let go of the need for things to be different than they are. And I am all about peace at this point in my life. Number 4, you learn more about how life really works. When you attempt to control the uncontrollable, you automatically block yourself from the truth. You resist how everything works rather than learning about it. Instead of trying to make things work exactly the way you want them to work, just watch them work today. And you know what? I'm learning that I just sit back and let things work, watch them work. And I've learned that I cannot control everything, and I don't need to be in control of everything. And I work on that daily. So, number 5. You experience more of life's pleasant surprises. And life is full of unpredictable beauty and magnificent surprises. And sometimes the sudden, unexpected arrival of this beauty is almost too much to handle. Do you know that feeling? I know that feeling now. There was a time when I can say I didn't. When something is just too beautiful, when someone randomly says something or writes something or plays some tune that moves you to the point of tears. Yeah, I've had those moments. Number 6, you free your mind from needless worries. And this is something I had to really work on. So no matter what happens, no matter the outcome, the sun will rise and set. The world around you is going to spin one way or the other. So why not allow the universe to bless you in surprising and joyful ways? And this is so true, because you know what? Let me tell you something. You're worrying about things is not going to fix it. It's not going to change the outcome. So stop doing it. Okay? So here's something to think about. What if, instead of pushing so hard to make life happen every second, you decided to let go a little and allow life to happen to you sometimes? What if, instead of trying to be in constant control, you simply surrendered control to something bigger than yourself? And again, I struggle with this on a daily basis, and I know I'm not the only one. What if, instead of working so hard to figure out every answer, you allowed yourself to be guided to the solution in perfect timing? And this is something that I also struggle with, but I'm going to keep working at it until I get there. You know what? I may never get it. So what? I'm just going to keep working towards getting there. So number 7, last but certainly not least, you get more of what you want by doing less. And so what that means is that when you step back and allow certain things to happen, it means these things will take care of themselves, period, point blank. And your needs will also be met. You have less stress and less to do, and more time and energy to work on things you actually can control. Most importantly, your attitude. And I really had to come to grips with that whole worrying about and changing the things that I can change. If I start with my attitude, that will pretty much fix everything. See, you can act a fool if you want to. How I respond is what really matters. You know what I'm saying? So this piece right here is really for me, but I'm sharing it with you all. So here are some afterthoughts. Your mind is where the greatest conflict resides. It's where half the things you thought were going to happen never did happen. It's where your expectations always get the best of you. It's where you fall victim to your cravings to control the uncontrollable. If you allow these thoughts to dwell in your mind, they will succeed in robbing you of peace, joy, and ultimately your life. You will think yourself right into a nervous breakdown, then you begin to fall into depression, and then ultimately into defeat. Honestly, there's so much about life that we can't control. So it makes no sense wasting your time and energy on the things you can't control, because then you neglect the things that you can control. And I think I shared this with you in my last video, maybe the video before that, about not focusing so much on the things that you cannot control. I cannot control the weather. You know what I'm saying? I cannot control the pollen count. I cannot control how you treat me, because how I react to it is different, but I cannot control how you treat me. Now I may not have to allow you to mistreat me, but I can control your behavior towards me. So guess what? I need to focus on the things that I can control. I can control my attitude. I can control my outlook on life. I can control the goals that I want to set for myself. I can control whether or not I decide to go left instead of going right. You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this. Focus on the things that you can control. Stop worrying about the things that you can't control, and they will handle themselves, I promise you. So, things you can decide. You can decide who you spend your time with. You can decide who you share your energy with. And let me put a pin right here. Be careful about who you share your energy with, because some people will drain on you until you have no energy. So please be careful about who you share your energy with. You choose to love. You can decide who you choose to love and appreciate. You can decide how you respond to life's disappointments and joys. And lastly, you can decide to control your attitude. If you notice, I spoke a lot about controlling your attitude, because that's something that many of us need to do. So that is all that I have to share with you about letting go. I would encourage each of you to, and I've done this myself, to get out pen and paper and write down some things that you need to let go of, and then start to work now. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait till the end of the year. Start now to go through your list and work on the things that you need to let go of. And as you do that, mark off those things. And I promise you, as you see yourself progressing through your list of things to let go of, your whole outlook on life will be so much different. So until our next video, let's work on letting go of things together. Take care.